This case came to me in the summer of 2016 from a lawyer in Birmingham, and he wrote a letter to the firm and he said, "We've found some GM trucks and SUVs that are tearing their engines apart, well inside of warranty." I looked at the names of the vehicles. I recognized the engine. I knew the engine. It's a Generation IV 5.3 liter V8. It was built from 2007 through 2014, and they put it in pickup trucks and SUVs like the Tahoes, Suburban, Sierras, Silverados. When GM warranted these engines for 5 years for 100,000 miles, it meant they trusted those engines to go at least that long without any type of major overhaul. When I looked into it online and various GM truck forums and the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, I looked into their webpage and found people complaining about the problem and not receiving adequate repair or not receiving a warranty repair from GM. I realized that we had not just an idea, but an actual defect. The defect is that the piston rings inside of the engine, and these are V8 engines, so there are 3 piston rings per piston for 24 rings. They wear out aggressively. Those piston rings are not items that are designed to be replaced periodically like tires and brakes or windshield wipers. No, those items are designed to last the lifetime of the vehicle. But instead, these piston rings were wearing out as soon as 25,000 miles on one of these trucks. Well, a lot of us will travel 25,000 miles in 2 years of ownership. Did GM issue a recall? No, they didn't. Did GM issue an extended service campaign to bring these vehicles in and provide an improved product? They didn't do that either, which is exactly how we got to trial. Here we are in September of 2022. This case has made it to a jury trial in the Northern District of California in front of Judge Edward Chin. We've got a jury of 8 professionals, 4 men, 4 women. These are highly educated jurors, which worked to our advantage because we had a case that was technical in nature. It was technical from a mechanical engineering perspective. Having a jury that was interested in our story, that was interested in our plaintiff's experiences, and also interested in the mechanical aspect of it, worked to our advantage. How did this trial end in a full verdict of $2,700 per plaintiff? It was because we presented a very concise story, an easy to follow story, a logical story, and most importantly, a credible story. Our plaintiffs had experiences that aligned with the problems that GM had documented internally. GM identified how these engines misbehaved when the defect was showing itself in these engines. Well, guess what? Our plaintiffs had those exact experiences themselves. So the jury didn't have to guess what was going on with the engines. Our plaintiffs told them. And then the jury had heard how the GM engineers had acknowledged these exact behaviors in these engines themselves. So the puzzle pieces were all there for us to present to the jury. My partners, Rebecca Gilliland, Mitch Williams, Dylan Martin, and our co-counsel, DiCello Levitt, got this verdict out in California. It was a full verdict. The $2,700 per plaintiff comes to about $102 million for a total verdict. We have other class actions for the exact same engine filed in a half dozen other states. So we'll work just as hard to deliver a verdict in those states if GM decides to go to trial instead of doing what they should do and bringing in all of these trucks to install new pistons and rings in them, which is what they should have done back in 2014 but didn't.